I want to get this out of the way at the very first portion of this video. I am not saying you have to play a certain way. This is not a description of how you've been playing wrong or how you could be doing better. But I do think that there is a lot of really cool stuff that the Bard can explore if you want to, and its potential is being wasted on memes most of the time. So let's talk about it. We all know about the horny bard, so I'm not gonna go into it. That is basically just a staple of D&D culture at this point. It has come about, people have laughed about it, people have hated on it, people have gone back around to ironically laughing about it. It's gone through the full meme cycle. Not talking about that. Instead, what I wanna talk about is the themes that a bard can truly explore to be one of the best stories possible. See, we all know that bards are based in performance. Even if you don't take proficiency or expertise in performance, the bard is still ingrained in it because, I mean, that's what the whole class is about. Whether you're playing College of Swords and performing through the art of swordplay, or whether you're doing College of Tragedy and performing through the art of, well, tragic prose. The point is, the bard will always be about performance. But performance is an incredible avenue to explore for storytelling. Because a lot of the times the bard comes across as comedic because performance is exaggerated in almost anything you do. The point of performance is to just be out there. Going back to my example of College of Swords, you're not just using swords in any which way. You are using them in the most fanciful and exaggerated ways possible. You are twirling them around and dancing across the battlefield because performance is more than just doing something. It is doing so for the sake of catching attention and communicating a message. And that is the thing about the bard that I think really gets underplayed, because a lot of the time the bard will be pushed into a comedic role because of that exaggeration. But truthfully, the idea of a character whose entire power is based upon performance is one of the single most fascinating things you could do in a story. Let's look at the subclasses. You have things like College of Shadow, College of Valor, College of Lore, lots of colleges. But the point is, out of all of those, the ability to explore what they're about in a character is really, really cool. College of Valor is based a lot on skalds, the idea of this character who can create this massive ruckus music which inspires your allies and terrifies your enemies. It's supposed to be this incredible performance of keeping an enemy moving backwards while you keep your team moving forward. And there's a lot of historical reference for this. That's a real thing that happened and still does happen sometimes.
Respect doesn't make history.
Toss a coin to your witcher, O Valley of Plenty.
But with that being said, using that idea of a character who has the ability to communicate that to your teammates, this inspiring, forceful message to keep them pushing forward, and exploring a character who wants to perform that way is really fascinating. Because the idea of somebody who goes into a battle and their only goal is to continue to keep their side inspired and inspire fear in the enemy is really something you want to ask about. Why are they like that? Why do they want to do that? How did they begin to learn to do this? Because honestly, despite the fact that a lot of people denote the bard as a coward and kind of assume that it's going to be that way, you have to be the bravest motherfucker on the whole battlefield to be the one to go into a battle while everybody else is charging forward with weapons and magic. And yes, you do have magic, I get that, but you're the one who's playing music.
We're three happy chappies with snappy snappies. You'll find us beneath our sombrero.
You're the one who's letting everybody else do things, and you are still literally drawing attention to yourself by being the loudest person in the entire battle, and also making it very clear that you are the one that is keeping everybody together and keeping them pushing forward. You are putting a target on your back and playing music at the same time.
Poppy, we got a situation here.
And that creates a fascinating idea of why is the character like that? Why has your character decided to take up this mantle? What creates that boldness in them? Maybe they are genuinely a coward, and this is the only way that they have found to be able to express themselves and be brave. Or maybe they are somebody who truly believes in their teammates to the point where that music, that inspiration that they're giving is not just part of the battle. They truly, genuinely believe in their teammates that much that it pushes them forward, making them a genuine linchpin of the party. Or let's talk about College of Lore. College of Lore is fascinating because it's not like a lot of the other colleges where it doesn't have a specific type of performance, but that doesn't mean that it's missing one. Instead of talking about music in the battlefield, or instead of talking about sword play or anything like that, the College of Lore performs through the act of history. They learn history, they understand it, and they help communicate it to others. And weirdly enough, one of the best examples I've seen of a College of Lore is Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I know that sounds a little bit weird, but think about it. He is one of the most powerful firebenders in the whole show, and why? Because he learns from the other different types of civilizations in the world. He doesn't just learn from the Fire Nation, and so he learns to redirect lightning by watching waterbending.
Waterbenders deal with the flow of energy. A waterbender lets their defense become their offense. I learned a way to do this with lightning.
You can teach me to redirect lightning?
And he learns the ability to block bolts of fire by watching earthbenders. He learns from everybody else and inputs it into what he does, and that is exactly what the College of Lore does.
It is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Understanding others will help you become whole.
The College of Lore looks at everything else in the world and they learn from it. That's why they get more magical secrets and they get proficiencies. They gain the ability to do this kind of stuff, and then they eventually even gain the ability to use their inspiration on themselves or in different scenarios other bards ordinarily wouldn't, because they learned. Their performance is looking at the world and reenacting it and changing it to fit the current situation and help them out. Their performance is knowledge. But with all of those examples aside, the point that I'm trying to make is the bard is a great example of interacting with the world through the medium of performance and exploring what that means to your character and what it's about. I think performance is something that sadly goes lacking because a lot of people just assume the bard is just about music, which they can be, that's okay. But you have to ask yourself, why does somebody want to use that as a medium? I mean, yes, you can gain magic from it in D&D, and that does add a little bit of a weird situation to it. But you could also go learn to be a wizard, or you could go make a pact as a warlock, yada, yada, yada. The idea of interacting with magic through performance is something someone would only do if they were deeply passionate about their performance. And I think skipping over that part misses a lot of the flavor and excitement that can come with playing as a bard, because your performance is your literal way of enacting control over the world. So maybe it is your character's only defense. Maybe you're a College of Lore and history and books were the only thing that kept you safe and sane in a very harsh childhood. Or maybe your College of Swords and the ability to juggle swords and create that sort of performance literally was the only way you could protect yourself and feed yourself as a kid. And so you are deeply passionate about it because it lets you show the world how angry you are at it, and also it was your only form of protection from it. Performance is the core of the bard, and you do not have to focus too much on it, but I think if you do, you could find a lot of very interesting stories to tell. If you want to hear about some more class breakdowns, I have one right here. Go out into the world, make it your own.